Hey YouTube, Mark Kaufman here, and as you can see, I'm going to be doing a sharpening video, and this is really not planned. This is coming up right after the correction and lapping of these two stones. I am not a expert at lapping, sharpening stones, or getting their finishing correct. I just flattened these out and smoothed out the surface to get rid of a lot of the wear and tear that were in these stones. These stones are probably from the 60s or 70s, and they had a lot of wear and tear. And this one here is a Washita stone, number 134. The other one is going to be a hard Arkansas. Now, the knife I'm going to try and sharpen is a Victorinox Pocket Pal. The Pocket Pal is a Victorinox knife that has two blades. It's a very simple knife. I feel like this will be a knife that I can base a good judgment on the steel reaction to the matrix here as I pull it back and forth here. I have dressed this stone with a little bit of mineral oil. Okay, so it's already ready. I don't really know how this is going to go. It may end up that this knife is just not sharp. Really quick, I know that like off the top of my head right now, if I have some paper in here that's not crap, off the top of my head, yes, this is a okay sharp knife. Okay, you see, it will cut, but I want to see, and I shouldn't have crumpled all that up. I want to see if I can get this sharp on this stone. All right, so we distress the edge, will not cut. I'm just going to be clear. This is not usually where I sharpen a knife. I usually sharpen my knives at a kitchen counter or in my kitchen. So this is going to be very interesting. I don't have as much room here, but I wanted to get this filmed. And you know what? Let me see if this will be better. I did try to do this with a tripod in here, and that really did not really want to work out. This is a Washita stone. These things are supposed to be, I think, about 300 grit stone. That's from what I've read. It's supposed to cut pretty quick. Get that tip in there. I know this form is horrible, but this is just a quick sharpening. I am not aiming for perfection. I'm just wanting to see how this thing cuts. Okay. Let's see. Now, one of the things that I guess you've got to focus on when you're doing these types of knives, okay, you have different shaped knives, and you have knives that have like a belly in it. You have knives that are just a straight blade, and then you've got like a Victorinox knife, which is a spear point. And what you'll see a lot of in these Victorinox knives is they're just sharpened flat. Nobody pays attention to the tip. And the way I kind of take care of that is I just rock back and forth and then hold the blade steady with my finger. And I just let the finger rest on the stone, and that kind of keeps my angle set. Now, I have to say this is a very smooth stone. I mean, it's already been flattened. I mean, it feels very good. But I'm wanting to really just see how fast it cuts. And right now, I feel I mean, it feels, just trying to see how much it's taken off on that edge there. That's why I was spending so much time there. Let me see. So that there, if you can see that kind of fresh spot, that is what I was doing right there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. So that fresh spot right there, you can see it. That's what I was doing just then. And I have to say, I mean, it's cutting quickly. I've already got a burr there. But to be honest, it's not cutting as quick as I expected. Because everybody's talking, not everybody, I'm not talking about like everybody on the end of the streets talking about this stone, but when I hear about these Washita stones, straight razor guys, you know, these guys that collect these straight razors and know how to really get those things sharp, they say, oh, Washitas are one of those that are really, really nice to get, especially if you can find like a lily white. Those are usually kind of the stones that those guys are talking about. And for me, I'm like thinking to myself, okay, I don't really know anything about these stones, but also what doesn't really help anybody is the fact that a lot of companies aren't actually even making them. What ends up happening, especially with the Washitas, if you're buying a Washita, you're either buying a Washita stone or you're buying a very soft Arkansas stone. And so, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm hitting all the wrong marks, let me know. But this is what I've just experienced and talked about with a few people. And not all of them are experts or pros, but I mean, now what I was saying is on these Victorinox knives, you want to have that roll to get the tip, but then on the main blade, you want to just keep that blade nice and flat on that stone. And I'm very bad at rocking my wrist. Now, one guy that I like idolize when it comes to his freehanding is Stephen Wolf. Okay, you can look him up. Stephen, oh wow, this is really cutting. Okay, so that there is my new bevel right there. See that nice straight cut line there? And now I need to blend the tip into that. So that's nice. It's cutting very well. Stephen Wolf is one of those guys that I'm just like, his skill in being able to hold his wrist and get the consistency of motion is incredible. I think anybody that wants to see somebody that can freehand very well, or even very well, I mean, excellently well, check out Stephen Wolf, but also Neves Knives. Neves Knives, he has an amazing ability just to be able to use his finger to hold the position of the blade in a way where I'm just sitting here like, man, just consistently he is able to get that blade to where he wants it to be. And he has sharpened some knives that I believe I wouldn't even want to sharpen freehand. I mean, I'm pretty competent. I'm to the point where I'm not scraping the back of the blade, but when it comes to his ability, I'm very impressed. So here I'm going back on this one. Now, let's see how this is going to go. Now, a lot of guys will say you need to use the whole stone. You need to try and use the back. You need to use the front. You need to use the corners. But you know what I say? Sometimes you just can't do that. And then sometimes you're just not really wanting, not really wanting to do that. Like for me right now, I just want to focus on the center of this knife. And I'm really not wanting to like be like all here, you know, that. Okay, I'm going to get on my last few passes here on the edge here, and then I'm going to work on blending the tip in. All right, so we're at like 10 minutes here. But what I want you to see, well, first off, I still have a burr. So let's cut that burr off. Okay, so let's see. Do I have another piece of paper? I do. I need to go to the store and get some more. So it's getting there, okay? See, there we go. We're getting there. But this is definitely a stone that, yeah, see, we've got an edge there. It's just not the best. And I don't claim to be the best sharpener either. I get my sharp knives sharpest on my Lansky. I try to be proficient in sharpening freehand only if I don't have a Lansky, or if I'm just sitting there and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to sharpen my knife up or just touch it up. But let's see. Whoops, slid off there. You don't want to do that. Now, on one of the comments of this video that I had of the garage sale, somebody said that these were pretty good sized stones. I actually prefer my stones to be a little longer. I don't care if they're thin, but I prefer length over the width. Only because the width is, you can make up for that just by sliding across the stone, but the length for me helps the most. Okay, I'm just going to try and get, but boy, I feel that thing cutting. Okay, I don't know if that is meeting the, no, it's not. I need to pull my edge back just a little bit. And one of the things that a lot of people get discouraged with on hand sharpening, I think one of the things is, okay, you're gonna really screw up your blade. Let's get that straight. Okay, you're gonna mess a blade up, okay? Now, for me personally, I've messed up very expensive knives that I've owned, but those were my knives and I was going to use them. Okay, that's meeting up right. But one of the things that people really get discouraged about is the fact that they might screw up their knife. What I can say then is buy yourself a Victorinox Solo. And a Victorinox Solo is essentially a Victorinox with no tools. It's an ALOX modeled knife. It is $20. So you actually can learn on a knife that has a easy steel to sharpen. It's a steel that is somewhat forgiving. It's a knife brand that you can get again if you screw it up, and then you know what not to do. I would say that, and it's also not a big knife. Either that, or what you can do is you can go out and just get yourself a reasonable kitchen knife. Something with like a 5CR blade. Stefan Wolf uses a kitchen knife from IKEA, and he does incredible things with that. His sharpening skills are amazing. But the one video that I love watching him do is when he sharpens his Spyderco Police in K390. I mean, his skill though, I mean, man, the guy is really good. And I don't know what he does for a living. I would guess he's a chef. Okay, let's just see. Just one more pass. And okay, we're gonna need more than just one more. Okay. That feels sharp to me. Let me see. Okay. We've got a little bit of a burr there. Let me see if I can knock that off. All right, let's see. I am just experimenting here, but there we go. So yeah, we've got a sharp knife now. I would even say that's a, well, I wouldn't say that's a razor sharp knife, but that is a sharp blade. Let's see. It's wanting to shave hair, but it's to the point where it's like, okay, look, you need to really just strop that thing up. What do I think of a Washita stone? That's if this is a Washita stone. I mean, I've done a little bit of research, and this one fits all the markings of a hard Arkansas, and it was very hard to lap. This one was very easy to lap, and some of the older Washitas were actually red and kind of a marbly reddish. So what do I think of a Washita? I think it cuts quickly. I don't think it's a 300 grit. It feels more like a 400 grit, actually. It's very, it's very responsive. You know when you're cutting on it, but one thing that I really like about it is that it's a little forgiving. I think it's a little bit forgiving in that it will allow you to use a very limited amount of force to get what you want out of it. While if you need to use a lot of force, it will allow that also. But I don't know. Is this going to be something that I use a lot? No, I've got a Norton, oh goodness, is it not Norton, Arkansas. It's a Norton, it's a red stone, silicon carbide stone. But man, that thing cuts. Only a few passes on that, and I'm talking two sides here, and you're done. I would probably use that if I really needed to cut. But if I was wanting to use an oil stone and I wanted to cut quickly, but if I was needing to use a lot of force, I'd probably use the Washita. I could be completely wrong on when to use this. It could be you're supposed to use this after the hard Arkansas. I don't know. But for me right now, this feels like if I had like a heavy tool, I would probably use this on it. And that's probably what the original owner used this on, because he was probably using this to sharpen chisels, because this whole section here was dished except for this whole section. So I think he was sharpening the chisel like that and never bothered to lap or flatten the stone. So I know this is a little bit different. I know it's a lengthy video. It's about 20 minutes. But I hope you guys enjoyed this sharpening video. Look, I am not a model citizen when it comes to sharpening. I just grab the stone. I have a few techniques that I know, and that's what I showed you today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment below, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you along for the ride. Until the next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.